freezing, you know, like absolutely freezing.
If it was anyone else apart from you, I probably would have got annoyed at that.
Yeah.
But because it was you, and I love you, I was like, you need to, like, because the bottom compartment of my bag was where my coat and my socks and everything was.
Right,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what sat in the puddle.
getting
So I was just like, this
soaking,
needs to get out. And when we got to we were going across this field, kicking across. There was a few little things that you said, and I just had to just go back with, we're nearly there, mate. We're definitely there. Just keep going. We're going to be there. We'll get there. And then
we'll put the candle on. He said, we'll put the candle on. And just the thought alone of that candle heat was like, hey, put the candle on, everything will be right. We'll put the candle on. Like, I thought desperate it was. The thought of a candle sounded absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
yeah. And then all of a sudden, you could sort of just see like parallel linear lines in the darkness. That's like not natural. That's not trees or anything. That's man. Whatever that is, that's man made. Let's head that way. And then this was a real weird situation as well, because in a scenario such as what we'd found ourselves in, if you were to see life, or like the fact that you know someone is there, so like there's someone there might be able to help you. I seen a set of boots outside the hut, and my first thought was like, oh no, someone's here.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we're gonna bother them now. They're gonna be asleep in bed. This is in the middle of the night now. We're pretty desperate here. And now we're gonna have to do all this, but quietly, because we're polite, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, how do you...
In hindsight, one of my biggest regrets really was not being more vulnerable to them, you know? We got there, we kind of like, Rambo's still somewhat chirpy talking to him. I'm like, fuck, like, get all his clothes off me, and needs to get himself warm kind of thing. And thank God, eventually she kind of stepped up and made us like hot water, and she gave me her jacket. And but in hindsight, I wish I would have said, like, you got any dry clothes for,
we never even...
for the night, because we had no sleeping bag either, you know? Just
stubborn mules, aren't we? That we were more worried about ruining their evening.
Yeah.
You know, they had the hut to themselves, and then we got there at about 4:30.
Right,
And we've just walked in, shivering, dithering, freezing cold, with our boots on as well. We've wet the whole goddamn place, and then it was only after a while when she could obviously listen to what we were saying and hear our chattering jaws and everything, that she actually jumped up and she boiled us some water.
Did you get the candle?
We got the candle.
You got the candle?
Oh, bro, the candle is a whole story in itself. The candle is... I'll never forget.
Candle would save you, wouldn't it?
So we're sitting on this bench right there in bed. We're sitting on the bench where you eat the food and stuff, like both legs spread around this. Straddling it, and the candle in front of us. And Rambo's like leaning forward, like, to me, you were like, whether I was off my head or you were, but he was like muttering stuff and like not saying what making much sense. And then he was like, the top, crawled to his bag and got a sheet of tarpaulin out and put it over our heads. It was only like 2.4 long by 1.2. It wasn't like completely enclosed in, but put it over our heads, the candle in between. And I can't express that 0.00001 degree of heat increase made me realise that everything was going to be all right.
Wesley, you've got to give the tarp more credit than that. You've got to give the tarp more credit than 0.1. It was.
You could just about feel an increase in temperature, you know. But that feeling would feel like 10 degrees, but in reality, it's probably like.
It's mad that these people just laying there in bed. And you two are like.
Well,
we made a little sauna, but like must have looked mental.
You think if we were in a dire, well, I know the thing is we were in a dire situation, but if someone, not us, is in that situation, they would have been begging for that help, and actually, you know what I mean? Like, this is what's happened. This is the situation we've been in. We're soaked through. Please, have you got anything warm in your bags? When us, we were just like, sorry, we'll because in our minds, we were going again.
Of course, right.
So like, we just needed to just get our body temperature up a little bit, see what we had dry to get changed into. Hopefully, have another chicken sandwich available. We had some pretzels, didn't we? And stuff.
If you got a pretzel, then
yeah.
The river crossing for me, I was going nowhere. Once you got to that river crossing at the end, once you got across that, I was like, just get me to indoors for a little bit.
Yeah,
I've had enough of this.
But the thing about wet gear and cold and all the rest of it, that's how hypothermia comes along. So moving is the better option. Obviously, we had to go over another peak and things like that. But in my mind, I couldn't get out of my wet, cold gear. So the only way I'm going to warm up is by movement. I was thinking about because when we were straddling that bench and we were just literally having our hands and occasionally your feet by the candle, I was glad I can commend myself in a way that even when we were down and out and it was a real shit situation, my brain was still, it was like a kaleidoscope. It was like, I was like, what do I know? What knowledge have I actually got inside of me? How do you warm a body up? How do you not get hypothermia in a situation like this?
I mean, you could have started like hallucinating and all sorts in the cold, like just be like, oh, let's go down here.
It's like a fire down here.
Yeah,
that top, man. That top was just another level.
Saviour.
And in the morning, Will goes to me, survival's all about, because you've done a bit in the past and done gardening and got a history being outdoors,
I worked for an outdoor adventure company like way back when in my early 20s, and I ended up being a part of the water sports team there.
Yeah.
So you get taught about, obviously, because all the while it's always cold water everywhere you go, especially in the UK. So hypothermia comes up a lot, and the knowledge and how to avoid it or what to do if it comes along. But most of the time it was even just conversations. But one thing that just stuck in my mind, where even when I was so broken as I was, I can still see the diagram of putting, one of those orange emergency blankets, and if someone was to fall in, you just strip them off naked, dry them off if you can, put that over their head, just bag them, and then put a tea light or a candle or anything underneath them, and the heat will just rise in.
And it brings the temperature up slowly, because if you bring it up too fast, your body goes into shock.
And luckily, like, I was just thinking about this, because I was seconds away from just jumping up and doing some star jumps, I've got to be honest, but all the while not wanting to, because didn't want to wake them up, and you can't go outside and do it. And then the next minute I was just like, top, boom. I thought I jumped up, but he reckons I crawled over, but in my mind I got
you're there.
Well, it was the quickest I could get up anyway.
It's one of us, to me, like zombie like going towards it. I'm seeing it, but what's he doing, like sitting with your hands around the candle,
How long do you reckon you were in there for?
A couple of hours.
Oh, right, okay,
We decided then that the best thing to do was wait the storm out. It's still brutal out there, and like get a sunrise and then go, because no matter what, we were going again, because we've got to get out, we've got to get home, you know what I mean? So I can remember when we were waiting for the sunrise, I was still on the bench, and I was nearly putting the candle out with my face. When you do that nodding head thing, and then I was like trying to lean on a hand, and I'd just go down again, and then eventually he went like, should we go and lie down over there? Like, we're not going anywhere, are we? Let's lie down and we'll wait for the sunrise on over there. And in my mind, that was a death sentence for me, like to go and just lie down in the corner in wet undies, wet shorts, still wet socks, like literally everything I had on was dripping. And
it wasn't until in the middle of the night that I realised that, like, obviously very selfish in a sense in that scenario. Like, I was cold, like hypothermia, borderline, got dry, got yourself all sorted out. We get in bed, and I'm like, he's like borderline sleeping, but the matter, he was shivering in his sleep. I was like, shit, he's all in his wet gear here. My box shorts were like wringing wet, and he's lying there still in that stuff. He was like, you were shivering like crazy. I'd like whack his knee to try and like restart his body again, and he starts shivering again like crazy. It's just sketchy watching him, like.
You shouldn't just go and lie down. We found out in the morning there was a bloody window over in the hut as well. I couldn't believe that.
Honestly,
I could
and the
not.
candle. I was about to watch the candle go out, and I was like, no way, like, fucking watch this candle die.
That must have been. I didn't see that, but that must have been a sad sight to just watch that last little bit. I can remember opening my eyes once and seeing it was really small, and I was like, oh no.
That's like a real
but
metaphor
I didn't see
for
it
the
go
trip.
Yeah.
So you didn't bother sleeping then?
I did nod off, but we were only there for literally, by the time we even lay down, it was probably less than an hour anyway, or an hour or something like that.
Probably down at 5 o'clock and got up at like 6:30. I had to give her a jacket back. I was like dreading it in the morning. I was like, oh no, I've got to get a jacket back. And I was watching him make there were a couple. I was watching them make a cup of tea and noodles in the morning. And I was thinking, I would pay any amount of money to have a spoonful.
Yeah.
And he handles the tea and handles the noodles like.
Oh,
he made it for us. Yeah.
He gives all the spare change of clothing, jackets, socks, waterproof jacket, pants.
Really?
Gives everything like sorted us right out, like proper. And in the morning we were real cold still. The sun hadn't come up, sitting there shivering still, and just have them clothes.
I think that's when they first realised that we weren't kitted out for spending the night, because they were underneath us. It's like a huge wide bunk bed, And when they've got up, they've looked at us, and we're not in 2 sleeping bags. We're under a tarp, but under the same, and not even a tarp each. We're under the same tarp. Like we're minimal gear.
Yeah.
And that's when they've gone.
Bones. You're on the bare bones, boys.
Bare bones, actual bare bones. Making it happen.
Yeah. Wow. And that's when they've gone. Shit.
Yeah. These boys are gonna die.
Yeah.
So they kitted you out some bits and bobs.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You've said, see you later.
They left. The sun came up. We sat on the deck for like an hour.
Did they
of
give
sun.
you like, hey, this is us. Get hold of us. Give us the
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Right,
So we've been using my phone to navigate throughout the night, and it had survived. So it was a Friday by the time this was happening. We did it a Thursday night, so all my work alarms were going off during all this. So my phone's still alive, and then while we're talking to them, we were like, right, give us your details. They lived in Queenstown as well, 2 Kiwis. They were
hikers.
They were guides
From Real Journeys.
Yeah, Real
Okay.
Journey
And
guides.
they worked on the route burn track and on the
and
Greenstone Cables track.
So they were.
So they were like,
prepared.
Yeah. And so they put all the details in, and literally 30 seconds after she handed me the phone back, my phone turned off and then never turned back on, and that was it. It was just, I think the water had eventually saturated it, and away it went. So we had to reach out on Queenstown Trading to find them to be able to return their stuff.
Oh, so the information didn't save?
No, the phone was just complete kaput. Never went.
And have you tracked them down?
Yeah, we tracked them down on Facebook. And,
Queenstown Trading. I put post stuff, and then as soon as I tagged Real Journeys in, within 20 minutes we found it. His name's John Bolden, or Belden. I don't know what his girlfriend's name is, to be honest, but it was him. We washed all the stuff, gave him all the stuff back, and then we obviously bought us noodles. So we bought him 2 dry packed meals. He made us cold tea in the morning, so we bought him like a nice set of tea bags. Bought him some scroggin. We bought him a bottle of red wine between us both. So
Yeah.
dropped them off in a little parcel too.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, they weren't in, so we didn't get to see them again. But
No.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to repay the favour. Like this.
I will big up yourself, John.
Yeah, innit?
Nice one.
Top that dude. Like saved our lives really in that sense. Just, again, warm clothes in the morning. Like just fresh socks on and a rainproof jacket. Yeah, mate, you good to go, aren't you? Pound of tea, new shoes on.
So how far is this now from the destination?
Well, we've done just over 30 kilometres to get to that hut.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind we were attempting to do 100, and then we've still got about 30 odd to go to get out to Arrowtown.
Yeah.
So we're literally in the middle of nowhere.
We're third in.
Yeah. But a third in. All the while when we were doing our checks of our time to see if we were progressing at the right pace, every time we were like, we've done a fifth of the hike in a sixth of the time, and we've done a third of the hike in a quarter of the time, and things like that. You know what I mean? It literally kept being like that, so we were always just off pace. But then when we've had to wait out this storm in the Roses Hut, that's just where it's just sapped a lot of time to make it completely unfeasible to get back to Queenstown in 24 hours. But I think everyone can appreciate the situation that we were in at the time. It would almost be like, that's the thing, because it was really on my mind. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to let Ernie down. And it was very very public, like probably the most public thing I've ever done.
Right,
you know what I mean?
everyone knew you were going. Like, yeah.
Oh, I talk a lot. I walk around sites or in town, and I'd like just story repeaters. So like, oh, how's it been, Will? Are you up to anything? And I'll be like, bam, yeah, here we go, and I'll go again. So I had told a lot of people we were doing this, like a lot of people. And the next minute, we're straddling the side of mountains in blizzards, and every single person I've told was looking towards the mountains, going, sure, Will said he was doing that.
Yeah. It's going to be snowing up there.
Oh, he's a bit of a pillock, isn't he? Yeah. And so that was in my mind as well. I was like, a lot of people know we're out here.
Well, that's good though. That's a good thing, really.
Yeah.
Well, get good handbags. So we were planning to be in Arrowtown for like 9 o'clock in the morning, maybe 11. So I told my girlfriend, like, don't hear us by 9, maybe 11. Start worrying, but like, don't panic too much. It was 9 o'clock and we were still 34k away from Arrowtown. We were like, we had to move.
Phone.
Yeah, no phone.
Yeah, no signal. We
had to move to make sure we were keeping in touch with people. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, that was, you don't really want that added pressure, really, but at the same time, you need to let people know and your loved ones know that you are all right. They don't even know the ordeal we've been in. All they know is we're late, and it was 6:20 by the time we eventually did get to Arrowtown.
And was it dry weather at this stage? Is it?
Yeah. Well, it's a bit cloudy in the morning, and the sun came out. We had periods of rain from that Roses Hut back to Arrowtown, back to Maystown was the main part of the trail. We had a few spots of weather then as well, but
It was almost
at least you could see where you were going.
Yeah, exactly. I was that happy to be alive. Genuinely, like you could throw anything at me. Like I would, as long as it wasn't too sketchy, I'd have walked it because so thankful in the morning. The sun was shining. We got the sun on your skin. You know, we're in shorts and t-shirt again. It was like, and you throw anything at me, and we're gonna walk it.
Yeah,
and it was all pretty cruisy then.
Well, it's still pretty tough going, and I think as well what added to it was we'd sort of stopped for a couple of hours, so our legs have sort of seized up.
Right, you know what I mean?
Like we've cooled down, and then we left the Roses hut in actual real nice weather, and it was quite a pleasant little paddock we were walking through, and then we come round this corner and bam, there was just another peak in front of us again, straight from the off. So it's still not an easy trail. And that one was real steep, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was. That was steep one of them all in terms of like climbing up the gradients of it all.
Yeah.
And we literally straight out the hut in the morning.
Can you remember
that again?
We counted the zigzags on the way. You could see sort of the switchbacks going up the side of it.
Yeah.
And like, oh my god, when you're walking towards it, we were like, right, we know we have to turn. I think it was like eight times, and so that's when we go, right, there was one. There's two.
like Boys Peak, Boys Peak's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit like that on the side of it, and you could see it as far as I could see. So it was a bit heartbreaking.
Yeah, and then I think we were just dazed and confused that day as well. I was going max pace when we were walking in the light, and it was sort of half the speed we normally go. But I was telling my body to give all to get out of there and try and make some of the time back or whatever, and the legs were just like, no, bro, this is all you've got.
Yeah.
This is you, son.
Yeah, this is you. And,
so when you got back to town, was everyone like, where have you been?
Obviously, we were doing it in Queenstown, weren't we? And once we got close to Arrowtown, we were like, right, we're going to pull the plug here because we worked out our times to finish the 100k. It would have been like midnight that night, both extremely broken, talking gibberish, barely make any sense. So right, let's just get to Arrowtown and get picked up. So my girlfriend came to pick me up from Arrowtown, and we briefly told one or two people on the phone that we were safe. And obviously, Will went out that night and seen the boys, so he told the story. But
so what time did you get back to town? Do you reckon?
6:30. We were in Arrowtown for 6:30 p.m.
Yeah, which
6 p.m.
Yeah. So
and no one was like calling like.
Yeah, people.
You're meant to be there at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
we were meant to be in that because we were talking about we were gonna restock in Arrowtown Bakery. That was one of the things that we were talking about. Like, right. Well, if we get into Arrowtown around about between 7 and 9 o'clock, we'll go Arrowtown Bakery, get a couple of pies, some coffees, and then we'll crack on and do the Moonlight track to get us into town. Bloody hell, set at 6, I think it was 6:20. Yeah. We got into Arrowtown.
No one had raised the alarm that you weren't back yet.
No, but the thing is, as far as the 24 hours was concerned, essentially we weren't meant to finish until 4:30 in the afternoon.
Right, got you.
So
6 isn't that late.
Yeah, it's not. It's only a couple of hours over. Yeah.
But we should have been in Signal for the last 12 hours of it.
Yeah. So, you'd think you would have heard. I didn't even have a phone at that stage, so. Yeah,
you're just hoping that people would see the rain and realise that they've got a few hikers in our group, like Joey and stuff. You're hoping Joey would be like, they probably stayed in the hut, stayed overnight.
Yeah.
Seen the length of the track, whatever else, and worked out that we would have gone to be there.
So you got back at 6, and then you went out on the lash.
Well, yeah, because I
couldn't believe it. I
been broken. I've been dreaming of beers for too long to not just give myself one, you know what I mean?
Went to bed.
Yeah, no. So Alex picked us up and we went to Altitude. And Matty and a few of his work gangs were in there, and I just sat with them. We probably had like a good 4 or 5 pints in there, I've got to be honest. And then I met up with Joey at his and Brendy's, and the beers just kept on coming. And I was
still in your wet boots and that.
Well, that was a funny thing actually. I was for a while. I was sat at the table with the boots on, still in the same clobber, and then eventually Hayley came and joined the table, and we were all chatting away, and she was like, "Oh, aren't you doing a big hike at the soon?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, it was last night and today." And she's like, "Oh, you've done it today?" I was like, "Yeah, just finished before." She's like, "Oh, are you still what?" And then everyone realised that we're still sat there and all my stuff, and all of them jumped up. It's like, "Right, get your bloody boots off, mate. Get this lad a new set of new socks and everything." And they completely changed me. And then when I sat down again, I was just like, "Oh yeah, like another beer, please, Barker."
And at this stage, you're at home.
Yeah.
I went home. Yeah, we had
Chippy in bed.
Chippy went to bed. Yeah, slept from 9:30 till 10:30 the next day.
Yeah.
And I woke up feeling again like dramatic, but I felt so appreciative to be like happy and alive. The whole world looked a different colour the next day. I was like, I'm gonna have
skipping
some food,
around
some
and
coffee,
that.
you know,
being dry, sleeping in a bed.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, like after a big long hike, everything tastes so good and feels so great. After that sort of hike,
Wow.
Just seeing things again felt so good and so great.
That's one of the reasons as well where I stayed out. I was like, well, there was that was the closest I've ever come. Well, there was one other time with my dad that was real sketchy. But that was in Wales, but that was the closest I've come to a while for never seeing my mates again.
Yeah.
So and now I'm sat with them and everyone's laughing and joking. I was like, give me some of that. Like I was very close to never hearing you laugh again or never taking the mick out of Matty again. So like, let's have it.
And have you spoke to? Oh fuck, who's this guy?
So,
Ernie. Yeah, have you spoke to him since?
Yeah. So I was in work yesterday and he rang me for the first time. It's the first time I've spoken to him. And I wasn't even really sure whether he knew that I was doing this for him, you know, because the thing is, he's an absolute legend, you know. But he is a private man, and like, you know, his business is his business within reason. He loves to talk, but you know, there's been a few times through all of this where I've thought, do you know what? He wouldn't really want everyone talking about his, you know. I know this is a bad thing that's happened, but you know, I just spent a lot of time with him, and there was, I don't know, but when I was speaking to him yesterday, everything that he was saying to me was positive. The recovery that's going on he's a big, strong guy. You know, he was a bodybuilder back in. He's a South African fella, and so he's a vet. And that's what the doctors have actually commended him on, how healthy him keeping his body as healthy as he has all this time has really helped him with the recovery. And I've always had that in my corner as well. I've been thinking he's a big, strong, fit chap. If there is anyone that's going to get through a situation as horrible as this, my money would be on him. And
did you tell him the sort of story? Or?
Yeah, he hasn't. I really want to meet up face to face, but I'll give him a bit more time. But yeah, I give him the lowdown, and I told him that what me and Wes had been up to, and I give him I just give him a few little snippets, because it is a face to. You know, especially for him, I'd love to sit down and give him, you know, like we've done here today. You know, there's a lot to say, isn't there? So on a phone call, and just in case Jambo listens to this, like obviously I was in work, I shouldn't have been just stood around on the phone, but there was a lot to crack on with.
Man, you do it all the time, don't you?
No, of course.
I was in your phone, mate.
No, business. It's business.
Of course,
I'm a hard worker for B&B. I've got to be honest. Yeah.
You're a hard walker for B&B.
Yeah. So no, but it was great to hear him, and then because there's a few things, you know, when you've met people in the past that had strokes or ceased on the telly, like sometimes it can really rock some people. They're not even the person you knew anymore, or it's hard for them to.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he was still sounded like good old Ernie, and still took the mick out of me the way he always did. So I got off elated, to be honest, after speaking to him, and I've been thinking about him so much recently, and especially through all of this. He told me I was lying when I said it, but it is actually true. Like, when you're doing a fundraiser and when you've put yourself through that, like, so obviously he didn't know we were doing it. Like, I have been thinking about him a lot, and every step of that, it was thinking about him that kept me sort of going. You know, like, we need to complete this. This is for him, and so it's all good. There's still a lot of recovery for him to do, but at first I thought he might have been stuck in a wheelchair, but he's saying that his left leg's actually caught up now, and he has to use a stick to walk, but that's a massive improvement, and a lot. Yeah, so I made up with what I heard today.
Yeah.
And
excellent.
Yeah.
It's not.
So
good.
how long's the give a little page open for?
So it's going to be running for another 2 weeks, and I think that's fair. And then it's
Will Ramsey on Facebook.
If they search Will Ramsey, it's RAMSAY, and just search for me on Facebook, and then there's a link on my page, and it'll take you straight to it. Just click donate, and it's real easy. My mum even managed to do it, so it can't be too difficult.
Mrs. Ramsey.
Yeah. Go ahead, mum. And so just even $1 would let's get the number to raise a little bit more, and it's going to help out Ernie a lot. And he's a cracking fella. He knows a lot of people know him in town as well. He's been here 15 years.
Oh, okay,
So he's and he loves a yarn. So you know, if you do as well, you're more than often than not, you've stood and had a chat with him somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, well, good stuff.
Yeah, big lessons learned, mate. You know,
so
life looks different.
If you're thinking of going hiking, guys,
Jesus Christ,
don't wear your stepdad's Adidas football jacket.
Absolute joke.
Take a spare pair of socks.
Sleeping bags. We named off your things in the morning. What you should take. It should be. It sounds obvious to take, doesn't it? But you I guess plan for the worst, isn't it? You know, you're so stubborn and so arrogant and naive that we could smash it, and really from now on, I'll never ever take anything on lightly ever again. You know?
Well, I know that is the case. We only didn't take those things because we had confidence in ourselves that we were fit enough to achieve what we wanted to achieve. And there was, and we both know as well how stubborn we are. That if we would never let ourselves get to the point where we're going to have to stay over tonight. That was never in our mind. So, because we're trying to go light, that's why a few things that are essential we've left behind. We've just stripped right down to energy, water, and a few other little trinkets. And then unfortunately it's reading the weather that we're supposed. That's what it's been an eye.
I guess that's key. Yeah.
We
just know how fast. And last thing, that couple in the hut who stayed us in the Rose Hut. That river we crossed, the ford we crossed at waist deep. When they crossed it 2 days earlier, it wasn't even over a pebble. You wouldn't even got your toes wet.
Right.
And 2 days later, or a day and a half later, it's waist deep and
I'd say up there with all the snow and rain, it could change in a couple of hours.
I think that's point proven.
Huge catchment area, and so there's things like that as well. If we would have done it on a dry night, we would have just shot straight past that hut, you know.
That's the reality of it. To be honest, if it was dry, we would have kept walking. We'd have been knackered and legs would have been tired, but as always, you know, we just cracked on. But,
oh man.
But anyway,
as I was saying before, I walked about 5 kilometres today, so I feel your pain, boys. I got a bit of a blister on my big toe because I was in just Air Max, the classic hiking shoe, as we all know.
I train as well when I start hikes, mate. All of them. I think your feet are comfortable, you know. Your feet are comfortable.
I was like, I've got an air bubble. I'm gonna be,
I'm
gonna be bouncing around. Oh fucking hell! All right, well, decent.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Thanks for letting us talk about it as well,
man. If we can save one person's life, that's all I'm worried about.
For all Muppet actions, maybe we could stop another silly person.
Well, that is the thing, that the situation we found ourselves in now is our ability has sort of now started to outweigh our knowledge. You know what I mean? Because we've been walking hard for the last 18 months, attacking just the challenges, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now our bodies are able to do what we want them to do, but we're just a bit behind on the knowledge of what you need to do to be in those environments. And this is a massive lesson for us. And we've shouted at the universe on every single one of our adventures and our challenges that we set. We need something bigger. We need to find the line. You know what I mean? We need to find our line, if you like, and then. On the universe shouted back this time going, how are you getting on with your big challenge, boys?
So we found the line and built a foundation below it.
Now you know. It's like the Boy Scouts, always be prepared.
Always be prepared.
Always be prepared,
that's it. And so now we know where we're at. We know what gear we need. We're talking now. We're gonna hike the same trail, but in the light, and just so we can actually experience what we didn't see. Because we lived in a 6-foot bubble for 20 hours almost, really, or however long it was, and so it would be nice to actually see what we survived.
Oh god, all the way down there.
Oh really? Yeah.
Thank God I didn't slip down that one.
On a day when it isn't snowing.
Ideal. Good idea.
That's it. Yeah, when it's actually a day to wear shorts.
Well, there we go. Holy Jesus, what a couple of lunatics, man. But you heard the boys. Get over to the Give a Little page. Just donate whatever you can. It's for a good cause. The boys nearly died trying to do it, so it's be a good bastard. And cool. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there, guys, and until next time, sayonara.